Hello physicists, welcome to Easy Physics. My name is Shubham and this is the lecture series of astrophysics. And today we are going to start its 8th lecture. So in the previous lecture, we discussed the spectroscopic binaries in detail and now we are going to start the eclipsing binaries. So the eclipsing binaries are those binaries star in which one star eclipses the other star, like solar eclipse. Let's say here is a binary star system, let's say star A, and at some distance RA with the center of mass, and star B which is at RB. Okay, and this star is moving like this and other star is moving like this, and you are observing this system from here, and after some time the star A will come here and star B will go there. So you can see that in your line of sight, the star A is blocking some light coming from the star B. Okay, it will block the light coming from star B, depends upon the size of the stars. Okay, so in this case star A is eclipsing the star B, and if star A will move there and star B will come here, then star B will eclipse the star A. So this case will only be possible if the angle between the plane of orbit and the line of sight is nearly 0 degree, or I can say the angle of inclination I is near 90 degree. We discussed the angle of inclination in the last lecture. The angle of inclination is the angle between our line of sight and the line perpendicular to the orbital plane. So you can see this angle between this here. So this is nearly equal to 90 degree. If the angle will vary, then the binary star will not eclipse each other, or we can say it will not, there will be no total eclipse. But if the angle is very large, if the variation is very large, then we will not find the eclipse at all. You can understand the case like if let's think this is the plane is like my hand and the stars are moving this way. So I draw in this direction. So let's say the star A will here and star B will here, and you are watching it from here. So you will see the eclipse. Okay, but now here is a condition. Let's say the plane is this way. Now tell me, can you find the eclipse? No, you cannot find the eclipse, because in your line of sight none star blocking the light of other star. Okay, so the condition for eclipse is when the angle of inclination is nearly 90 degree. Okay, all right. So let's see some cases, like let's understand the case of total eclipse. And partial eclipse. In the total eclipse, let's say this is the star A and this is the star B. If the star A is coming this way, that after some time it will block maximum light it can, then there is a total eclipse. But if the stars are moving this way, or I can say the angle of inclination is not exactly equal to 90 degree or not the near 90 degree, so the star will move this way, that it will not completely eclipse, it will make things like this. Okay, it is partially eclipsing the star B. Okay, so I think you got idea of the total eclipse and the partial eclipse. Now let's discuss some cases of total eclipse. So consider the two stars. Let's say here is a star A and star B. So for this case, now at this point, now you are receiving the radiation where you are directly viewing these stars from your direction. Okay, so let's say the luminosity of the star is L1, or say LA, and this is LB. Now I am saying this case 1, luminosity of star LA and LB. Now let's say what intensity or brightness you are observing at your location. You are at distance D. D is the distance between the system and your location. Okay, so let's say the total brightness you are receiving is I is equal to LA upon 4 pi D square, okay, and plus LB upon 4 pi D square. LA is the actual energy emitted per unit time at this location to the star, and the energy you are receiving is divided by the total sphere, the total area of the sphere of the radius D at your location. Okay, so this is the brightness of star A and this is the brightness of star B, and you are receiving the brightness of star A and B, so the total brightness is the sum of these two brightness. Okay, so this is the first case, and we can write this case as 1 upon 4 pi D square. So the total flux of the star A and area of star A, or the total flux of star B into area of star B. We can write the luminosity in terms of flux of star A into area. Okay, and I can write the area as it is directly proportional to radius of the star square, or I can put some proportionality constant. So I can write this relation as 1 upon 4 pi D square is equal to K R A square into F A plus K R B square into F B. Okay, I can write this equation as I is equal to, I can take K as common, K upon 4 pi D square into F A into R A square plus F B into R B square. Okay, I can say equation number 1. This was the case first. Now let's take the second case case second. In this case, we assume that the star A is coming in front of star B and blocking its light as much as it can, because we are considering the case of total eclipse. So in this case, here is star B and star A is coming this way. Okay, so here is star A. So now we can write this as, we can write I1, let's say I2 is equal to the luminosity of star A upon 4 pi d square, as the whole light is coming from the star A as it was coming before, plus LB upon 4 pi d square, and minus, now what we will take in the in this term, there will be some term like, let's say the luminosity we know is the total flux into area, so it will be the total flux coming from star B, total flux coming from star B in the area of A, area A upon 4 pi d square. Okay, what did I say? I need to minus some term because some radiation is blocked, so I need to minus this radiation coming from star B, which was coming from star B. So I just take LA upon this and LB upon this. This was the whole radiation which was coming from star A, and I need to take some minus term which radiation was blocked. So I take minus some luminosity which is F into area. So the flux of star B, because the light which was blocked is from star B, the flux from star B into area of star A, because the light which was blocked is only from the area A. Okay, now I can write this as what I can write for LA as I wrote before, K into RA square into FA plus K into RB square FB minus K into RA square into FB. So I can write I2 is equal to K upon 4 pi d square into FA RA square plus FB RB square minus FB RA square. So in this case we have this extra term. Okay, now can we consider the third case? Obviously. So let's say this is the equation 2. Now I can erase this term. So in the third case, let's say the star A is now going behind the star B, because in the first case we take the star A is here, in the second case star A is in front of star B, in the third case star A is going behind the star B. Okay, so in the third case we take, here is star B and star A is behind the star B. So the whole radiation which is coming now is from star B, because star A is behind the star B, and we are considering that the star A is smaller than star B, so the whole light is blocked by the star B and there is no radiation coming from star A. So in this case, the only luminosity or the brightness that is coming from the system is from star B. So we can write I3 is equal to LB upon 4 pi d square, or I can write FB K R B square upon 4 pi d square. Equation 3. So what we conclude? We conclude that there is a variation in the brightness of the stars when the star is revolving in the eclipsing binary system. Okay, in the first case this was the brightness, in the second case the brightness was some different value, brightness has some different value, and in the third case it also had some different value, and the maximum value was when the stars were not eclipsing each other. So if I draw the brightness and time graph, then suppose again repeat this situation. Let's say here is star A and here is a star B. Now we will have some fixed brightness that is coming, which is the sum of the two stars, like this way, and after some time it comes in front of star A, star B. Now it is reduced by some amount with this amount, so it is reduced for the time it is here, and after it will go there and the brightness will still remain same, and after some time let's write the third equation, which was FBKRB square upon 4 pi d square. So again here the star B is here and star A came here, and now star A get behind the star B. Here is a star B and star A get behind. So now it also reduced by some factor, as we can see. So here the time scale, we can see the brightness has some periodic variation. Okay, so let's say if the star is taking t time from this location to coming in front of the star, then okay, let's say if the star is taking time t from this location to get behind the star, then it will also take the same time for coming in this location again. What I am saying? I am saying that if this is the binary star system, and now if this star is blocking this star, then when this star goes behind and this star go here, so it will take the same time here, let's say t1, same time here t1. Okay, it is the half time of its period. So we can have the information of time period, and we observe how it works. But let's see this. In this case, let's if we have the close observations, then the star A is here, this time it was here, then the both star were separated, then we have the equal amount of brightness, and after some time it come here. Okay, after some time it came here. Now at this location it started blocking some light. Okay, at this time it started blocking some light, so it started blocking this much of light, so this graph started to decrease. Okay, so it started decrease. It is not like this, it is like this. Okay, so it started decreasing, so after some time it get more area, and we have more decreased light, and there is a time when it completely blocked the star B's light according to its area. So this is the time at this location. Now it is it has completely blocked how much it can. So now this is here, now this is here, and now this is here. During whole time there will be some constant brightness, because now it is not blocking the changing light, because now if it has blocked some limited amount of light, then it will block here also the same amount, and same amount. So during the whole period it will be the constant. After it started going away like here, then there will be some increase in brightness, because the light which was blocked get increases, so it will started go like this. Okay, but if I have the partial eclipsing, so in case of partial eclipsing, let's divide this case from here. Now take a case of partial eclipse. Here is a star B, here is a star A. Now it will not completely eclipse the star A. Now it came here, then here, then here. Now it blocked some light, so at this location it started blocking some light. Now again it come here, now it blocked some more amount of light. Now it came here, it blocked some more amount of light. Now it get here, so it blocked some less amount of light. So there is no portion in which it is blocking the constant amount of light for some time. So for this we will have some smooth curve like this. We don't have this thing in this case. Okay, so here is a case. We can have some last case, which is when we consider the same radius star. If we will have the same radius of star, it will have the constant amount of blocking period. So it will block like this, and it will started blocking from here, and we have the constant decreasing brightness graph, and after some time it will block completely star B. Star A will come here, so it will block completely. So after this time it started releasing its brightness or light, so we will have some graph like this. Okay, now Now we will focus our discussion on this case. Let's say when the star is coming from here to here, this is time t1, and for this duration let's say it is time t2. Okay, now let's see the case like this. Say here is the star B. So let's say the radius of the star is RB, and this is our line of sight. We are viewing this system from here, and the other star is revolving like this. So we are looking in the frame of star B. So there is a time when star A is here. Okay, so is in this time it started coming in the sight of star B, and it started eclipsed by the star B. So it will, after some time it will come like this, and after come like this, and when it completely come this way, then it comes completely in the sight and it get completely blocked. So during this point to this point we will have the period t1 because it is coming inside. So this is the same case, it is coming inside. So to come inside, it is traveling the distance RA and RA. So it is traveling the distance 2RA. So if let's say the separation is R, then we can write this as the let's say the angle is equal to arc upon radius. So here is some angle, let's say theta, is arc, it is 2RA, and radius it is R. Let's see. Here's equation 1. Similarly, when we consider this case for T2, then it will be when it will start it going out the line of sight. So it will be when it will travel this location to this location. So what is this? It is not necessary that it will go this way. Let's draw this way. So what is this? The complete is 2RB, and this is RA and this is RA. So the distance traveled during this, let's say, is theta1. The traveled in this theta 2 is 2RB minus RA, because we need this distance only. So this distance is 2RB minus 2RA. So for this we can write angle is equal to arc upon radius. Theta 2 is equal to 2R2 minus 2R1 upon R. Now we have theta 1 and theta 2. So what information we can get from theta 1 and theta 2? Can we get the time? We can write theta 1 as omega t1, which is equal to 2 RA upon R, and we can write t1 is equal to 2 RA upon omega R. We can say equation number 2. Similarly, omega t2 is equal to 2 R2 minus R1 upon R, and t2 is equal to 2 R2 minus R1 upon omega R. Equation number 3. Now we have the relations of T1 and T2, and we can directly calculate T1 and T2 on our location by just measurement of using our stopwatch. So using this relation we can find the value of RA. So we say RA is equal to T1 omega R upon T1 omega R upon 2 T1 omega R upon 2. Yeah, so this is equation 4, and using this value in equation 3 we can find, okay, I just changed the symbol here. So this was B as I used for RB, and this was A. So B and A. So I wrote this relation as RB minus RA is equal to T2 omega R upon T2 omega R upon 2, and RB is equal to T2 omega R by 2 plus RA, and RB is equal to omega R by 2 common, and T2 plus T1. Question number 5. So we have calculated the radius of the star. Now we have the information of the radius of the stars using the eclipsing binaries. So we had the informations of the masses of individual stars and the total system, and the distance of star A from the center of mass RA, and similarly RB, and the total separation R using the spectroscopy binaries, and I have the information of the radius of the stars using eclipsing binaries. So this way I have the complete information about the binary stars, and here we will end this topic. So all comments are welcome, so do comments if you have some doubts in this topic, and if you like this video then press the like button and subscribe the channel, share this video as much as you can. Thanks for watching Easy Physics.